Good. Welcome. It's nice to be back at another one of these events. So I haven't got long, so I'll get straight into it. Which one is it? Green one? There we go. Always pick the wrong button. So, going to talk about resilience, improving productivity, and want to touch on some aspects of zero trust and how those principles can help both of those. So, a quick reminder of some of the challenges. I've been talking about this for a while. I don't think anything's really changed, but there's two or three things here. The biggest one, of course, being applications leaving the building. And this was really accelerated by the pandemic. It's still happening. Some of us are going kicking and screaming to the cloud. Some of us are doing it in drips and drabs, but you know, it's a trend that continues, of course. So, if we think about this movement to the cloud, and anything that we're doing with cloud-based access, the big question is how do we secure our data and our applications now that they're outside of a physical boundary? The other issue we have, of course, and you know this hasn't changed too much, is that we keep hearing about breaches. This isn't unique to the UK. I cover APAC area as well. This is something that happens globally. I was literally doing one of these talks over in Philippines just before Christmas, and literally that week, 3 government organisations got breached. So it varies where we go around globally. I think we're quite mature here now in the UK with some of our resilience, but certainly for those of you operating in global, international theatres, the maturity level can vary. So flexible working is here to stay, we know that. I see some verticals getting people back in the office a little bit earlier than others, but certainly the whole concept of flexible working, for me, kind of goes hand in hand with business continuity and resilience. So before we were very focused on disaster recovery. We would have our resilient data centers, and we would think about where my user's going to go and work if I happen to have some kind of physical disaster. But now especially the pandemic's really got us thinking about, I want my users to work anywhere, and I want them to work on any device, and I want them to have the same security posture wherever they're working and whatever they're using. So that to me is, flexible working goes hand in hand with business continuity and resilience. So let me get off some of these slides just for the time barriers that we have here. So let's talk about the way we used to do things a little bit. So the VPN was something that we've been using for a long time. And why do we use the VPN? Well, yes, our data and our applications used to be back in the headquarters, but that's changed. I'm having trouble with this button. There we go. And now some things move into the cloud. And what's happened here is, and many organisations pivoted to this really quickly during the pandemic, was that where we used to use the VPN occasionally, we kind of pivoted to using the VPN always, because that is where our security stack lived, and that's where all of our security tools were. That's where we audited everything. So we basically pivoted, and we started hairpinning all of our traffic through the data center or through the network. It was just a quick thing we had to do during the pandemic, but I think many organisations may still be transitioning away from that. And I'll get on to where zero trust principles come into play with some of this, but that's, for those of you perhaps going along that journey and thinking about, okay, I want to adopt some of the zero trust principles. Where do I start? The VPN's a good one. It's a quick win for me, low-hanging fruit. When you use a VPN, what you're doing, you're kind of extending your network somewhere else. You don't know where that user is. Could be in the coffee shop, could be in the pub, could be in the airport. and we just don't know what the security posture is of the environment they're in, the device they're using, or even if it is really that person on the end of the device, perhaps. So that's, where zero trust comes in is not trusting anything, putting everything on the outside. Okay, so it's adopting that mindset of saying, right, these are my enterprise applications, this is my enterprise data. Anything that accesses this is on the outside. There is no such thing as implicit trust. So, let me get onto this. So it kind of creates this perfect storm. I won't go through all of these again in the interest of time, but flexible working, movement of data and applications to the cloud, different devices in use is kind of this perfect storm, if you like, to rethink our organisation's posture and to rethink the way we think about security and how we secure applications and data. So certainly at our company, we refer to NIST, and the National Cybersecurity Centre also have a set of guidelines around what you should be thinking of when it comes to zero trust, where you start, things that you should evaluate. So they pretty much go hand in hand. I've used the National Cybersecurity Centre here as an example. NIST have great aeroplane reading. NIST have a paper called 800-207, which delves more deeply into some of the architectural aspects and design concepts around implementing zero trust. But here are the key ones that certainly National Cybersecurity Centre have. These are not in any particular order that they pulled out. So I haven't got my glasses on, so I'll get a bit closer. So first of all, know your architecture. If you don't know your architecture, if you don't know your environment, that's the first place you need to start. You need to know, are you using a VPN? Where are my remote offices? What devices am I using? Where geographically are my users traveling to and located? Do I need to control things like data sovereignty? What kind of a compliance am I under? Identify the resources that your organization and your users are using. So in Zero Trust land, we do have this concept of enterprise-owned resources. They're the things you want to protect, right? They're the things that you should be applying Zero Trust principles to. What type of behavior are my users, should I be seeing from my users? Some organizations perhaps will mandate that all of their users should be in a certain physical location in highly regulated environments. Some users may be completely work from home and they may use personal devices. That's important for the type of security controls that you may want to produce. So I can see I've got 5 minutes left. So I'll get through these quickly. Authenticate everything, trust nothing. That's where my company, iboss, comes into play. We authenticate everything on every single connection, and by default, the default policy, a bit like we did with firewall rules, is we don't trust anything. Nobody's allowed to do anything unless they're authenticated, identified, and they have a policy that explicitly defines what resources they can get access to. Think about a VPN. It's a great example. We extend in the network to the device. They may have access to certain things, they may not, but they're on that network. Things like lateral movement, the ability to do reconnaissance. You've extended the network out. You may have heard the term ZTNA, right? They're mixed up. Zero Trust and ZTNA can be mixed up. But ZTNA is Zero Trust principles applied to accessing private resources back on your private network. It just means that instead of extending the network to the user wherever they are, you're putting the user through a policy enforcement point to identify them, see what they should have access to, and then only connecting them to that application or that data set or that resource, not the network. So you're reducing risk. It's a great quick win. Okay, real quick, where does iboss come in? Well, we've created a cloud, a private cloud. We use a technology called containerization. Real quickly, that just means that If you think about clouds, SaaS, it lends itself very well to multi-tenancy. Lots of different customers use that cloud. Not so great with security though, right? We're not used to that. So containerization just means our customers get their own cloud and we separate all of our customers. So again, it's good for regulative controls, data sovereignty, and just the ability to know that you've got complete control of where your data lives and it's not going to be intermixed. So things like data loss prevention, or even, we extend into AI engines as well, where we're looking for anything that high risk or confidential information. You may not want that same content inspection engine to be used for other customers as well. So we just separate everything now. The other thing is ZTNA. I don't know if you can see the arrows there. One's going to public cloud, SaaS resources. The other one's going to private resources. This helps with productivity. What are our users doing today? They're turning on and off VPNs to get to the private resources, and then they may be just using local breakout to get to public. We put everything through a single security edge. Everybody gets the same security posture. We do the same checks. We don't care where they are. And we only connect the users to the resources that they are allowed to go to. Wow, I did that. So that may be the quickest talk I've ever done. Real last quick. Why iboss? For those of you perhaps in cyber teams, these are some points that might be relevant. But I mentioned the containerized architecture. We separate all of our customers. We align our product with NIST and National Cybersecurity Center principles just to help you along that journey. There is no zero trust product, I must say that, right? It's a set of principles, it's an architecture, but what we can do is help you along that journey. Everything's one single edge. It's not one product for to replace the VPN and another one for internet access. It's one product. Static IP addresses, IP6 reports. I think I'm done. How was that?
Perfect.
Good.
Because I actually gave you a couple of minutes and you managed to bring us back in time. So thank you.
Excellent.
Well done.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tim.